Hey family, it's Danielle, and today we are finally sitting down and doing Trice Lee's 1 year update, you guys. I am so behind the game, but we're doing it today. So if you want to hear what's been going on with Mr. Trice and myself and just how life has been over the past year with 12 kids during a pandemic, all the things around for the video. Be free, let's go, be free, But before we jump into this video, if you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Danielle and I am the non-traditional mommy. And on this channel, we discuss parenting, marriage, homeschooling. We do vlogs and reviews, basically anything that pertains to life. So if any of that is of interest of yours, I would love for you to consider sticking around and joining my family. All you gotta do is just hit the subscribe button. You don't have to marry anybody to be a part of the family. Just subscribe. And that's it. You're part of the family. To the rest of my non-traditional family, you guys are the MVPs and I love you bunches. Now, let's talk about Trice Lee, who is officially 14 months. Yes, he is 14 months, so we are 2 months behind the game, but that's okay. That is okay. Mr. Trice is 14 months. He did his 1 year checkup. He was right at about 22 pounds. I think he lost 2 pounds at his 1 year checkup, which those of you who have breastfed babies or those of you who are here who may be pregnant or this is your first child and you're just trying to see what to expect at the 1 year. If you are breastfeeding, a lot of times those babies are a lot chunkier, a lot bigger, and then once they become mobile and start moving around and you introduce solids and things like that, they will typically begin to lose weight. So that is normal for them to lose weight. He did lose about 2 pounds at his 1 year checkup, which the doctor said was fine. Other than that, he was good. His iron was low by like 1 point. So we do have him on an iron supplement. And that probably, again, is because I have tapered off on my breastfeeding, which we should talk about. You guys saw earlier in his little preview that he had a bottle. So I only night nurse him now. I rarely breastfeed him through the day. Sometimes I will if he's like extremely fussy and just will not take anything or won't go to anybody else or won't fall asleep for his nap, then at that time I will nurse him, but strictly night nursing right now. And that is pretty much what I did with all of my kids. Once they turned a year old, we moved strictly into night nursing, and then I typically will allow them to self-wean. He is still breastfed, but he is drinking the Similac Toddler Milk Pro Sensitive. So if you guys have been following along our journey over this whole year, you guys know that at the very beginning, when he was first born, for like the first, what was it, y'all, like 6 to 9 months of his life, that he was like puking. It was so bad. The doctor had suggested that we try formula. I took things out my diet. We pretty much tried everything. The only formula that seemed to work to help keep his system leveled was the Similac Pro Sensitive. I was going back and forth between that and breast milk, and then I found, I'll insert a video of the pills that I found, how do you guys say it? Homeopathic, is that right? But all natural pills that were for upset stomachs, for indigestion and things like that, and they were miracle workers. And so that tended to help him a lot. And we were able to transition and not do as much Similac and do primarily breast milk. But with that being said, when it was time to introduce milk, which really I don't do a whole lot of milk, and I was trying to figure out like what kind of alternative to whole milk I could give him that would still have all of the nutrients and things like that, because we drink oat milk and oat milk doesn't have any nutrients for real. It's really not that good for you from the standpoint of having a whole lot of like nutrients and things like that, vitamin D, calcium, stuff like that. And I didn't want to give him soy. So I was like, what else can I give him? We did try the whole milk. We did try it just to see like how he took to it, if he would drink it. And y'all, it messed his stomach up. And we did the slow transition, like half whole milk, half breast milk, you know, fourth, third. We did that whole thing to try to make it easier on his system. And A, he didn't really like it, and then B, it messed his stomach up. We tried the Similac toddler milk, and he loves that stuff, y'all. He loves it. He literally drinks that all the time. That was what was in his bottle earlier, and he will only take it in a bottle. He won't drink that in a sippy cup. His sippy cup, he is used to having his strawberry water and his lemon water, so he won't drink milk out of a sippy cup unless it's chocolate milk. So there's that. But yeah, and it has to be warm. He still likes his milk warmed. He won't drink it if it's cold. It has to be warm. It has to be in a bottle. And that's the only way that he will take it. And he only drinks it when he's sleepy. So that's the only way we can get him down for like a nap and things like that. That's where we are as far as with his milk and breastfeeding. It's so funny because I turned 40. Obviously, I did a whole being pregnant at 40. I am now 41. But I did call to have my baseline mammogram done, which I've had a mammogram done in the past when I was younger, in my 20s, I believe. Maybe. Was I in my 30s? I think I was like late 20s. I had a mammogram done. So I've had one done, but I had called to get my baseline. And you cannot get a mammogram if you're breastfeeding. For those of you who are getting close to 40 or maybe pregnant at 40 or planning on breastfeeding or things like that, keep in mind that you will not be able to get a mammogram until you have not producing milk for 6 months, and then you can get one. So I probably will not get my mammogram until next year, maybe even the year after that, just depending on how long Trice takes to wean himself off. There's that little tidbit if you guys did not know that. That's where we are with the whole breastfeeding and all of that good stuff. Let's see, food-wise, he eats everything we eat. We no longer use baby food. The only time I will have like baby food in the house is when we are leaving to go on vacation and he is being babysat by somebody, and I just want to make their life easy because he is a eater and a snacker and a foodie. And a beggar and all of those things. So I will buy the little toddler meals and things like that, and the squeezables and all that stuff when we are going to be away. And I want them to be situated. Give me 1 second, y'all. Can you text Lonnie and verify, because he just left and I'm not sure what his plan is. I don't do baby food unless that's the case. He literally eats what we eat. So when I cook dinner, I make him a plate. No matter what it is, if it has a little spice in it, I will still make him a plate and feed him that. And I found that that works. He tries everything. He tastes everything. We're finding out what his likes are, his dislikes are. And honestly, his dislikes are like minimum. The boy is an eater and a foodie. He likes his food. And it's so funny because when he sees us eating, or if he thinks we're eating something, he comes up and he's like begging and pointing and doing his milk sign, which is really his sign of some, or I want some. Yeah, so he loves food and he loves all kinds of food. As you guys saw, he obviously is fully walking and running and going up and down the stairs. We got rid of our baby gate. Some people will have a heart attack about that, but I tend to gravitate towards more of Montessori, which some people wouldn't consider getting rid of your baby gate at this age. But for me, I'd rather teach him and show him and allow him to get comfortable with going up and down stairs now than to prevent him from learning that. And then he's somewhere out in the world or at somebody else's house who has stairs and they don't have a baby gate. and there's an accident. I've just done this with all of my kids, and I find that it works really well for us. And my kids haven't fell downstairs, so knock on wood, because let me tell y'all, transition real quick. Trice has been the hardest kid.
Someone is at the front door.
Somebody's at my front door. It's probably the neighbor's kids. Trice has been the hardest kid. And I'm not saying that being funny, y'all. Like, the kid gets into everything. And I can't remember if we talked about this in his 9-month update. I don't even know if it had happened. I don't think it had. But he ate a Tide Pod, y'all. Scared the crap. I mean, obviously, like, the scariest thing that ever happened to me as a mother to date. It was so scary. And I was in the kitchen. I was cleaning up. And he was crawling around on the floor, doing what he does. And I was sweeping. And we were all kind of navigating in the kitchen. And then my son Harris brings him to me and was like, Trice ate something. And he had blue, green, kind of all down his body. And I was like, what did he eat, Harris? And he was like, well, he was by the trash can. So I'm like, checking the trash can. What did he eat? And then he was like, I think it was one of the laundry pods. Now, we keep our pods up high where he cannot get them. But one of my teenage children had opted that day to wash their clothes and leave the Tide Pods up on the washer, and then it fell. So anyway, y'all, my husband was out cutting the grass. I like ran and I'm like screaming. I'm like, he ate a Tide Pod. And I'm like rinsing his mouth. We're calling poison control. I get them on the line, and they were telling me, has he thrown up, and all the questions. And she was like, if he, hasn't thrown up, just watch him. But if he throws up, they need to get him to the ER. No sooner than I hung up with poison control, he throws up. So I'm like, we gotta go. So we get in our car to drive to the ER, and we're in the car, and he's like vomiting profuse, this just green vomit. So now I call 911 because I'm like, we need an ambulance. And they're like, well, ma'am, you have to pull over so we know where you are. And we live right by a fire department. So we stopped at the fire department. And I like rushing him in there, and I'm like bawling tears. And they're like, it's okay, calm down. They took him from me. Took him to the ER, which is so funny because we get to the ER, and the ER calls poison control on what to do. They took all his vitals and stuff. And then they call poison control to figure out what to do after that. But yeah, he was fine. Obviously, they kept us in the hospital for 4 hours to monitor him. Scariest thing ever, y'all. So scary. That was like the most scariest thing ever. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never buying another Tide Pod ever again. And I have not bought another Tide Pod. And I do not plan on buying a Tide Pod ever again. Because Trice, I'm telling y'all, like, he is into everything. We have to lock everything up because the boy gets into everything. He is the most curious baby, the most fearless child that there is. And he's a taste tester, so he tastes everything. Like, he literally goes around tasting everything that he could possibly taste. Yeah, that was fun. So we had that happen. That was probably our biggest scare for him. So he's going up and down the stairs. He knows how to do it. Although he will try to go like we go. So my bigger kids, I make them go down the way we want him to go down. So that way he sees that and he will try to go that way versus him trying to go the same way we go. He's not talking. He's saying a few words, but not talking. He says, stop, yes, no, and thank you. So right now, and dada, according to my husband, I think he probably does say dada. I can't really determine. Hold on, you guys. Hey Siri, call Lonnie. Those are pretty much the 5 words that he says. He's not saying mama or mommy or mom or anything, which you guys, honestly, I'm not complaining about because I have enough kids that say mommy 24/7. So I'm okay with Trice not saying mommy right now. And to be honest, the kids literally will go through and try to figure out what he wants because he will point to tell you that he wants something. And they're like, this Trice, you want this? You want this? You want this? You want this? Until he's like, yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay, here you go. So honestly, he really has no need to formulate his vocabulary because they pretty much cater to him. And honestly, that was the case with a lot of my kids. Like Sydney, my 15-year-old, she didn't talk, y'all, until she was like 3. Like, it was late before she talked. It was crazy late. And when she started talking, it was like, from Little Rascals, if you guys ever seen that. Like, when she opened her mouth to talk, it was a full vocabulary. It was the craziest thing ever. Yeah, so that is pretty much what is going on with him. He is amazing, y'all. I talk about his personality all the time in my videos, and that has stayed the same. It has been consistent. Like, he is truly, truly a happy baby. I mean, he's just happy. And when he does cry, it's usually a fake cry. We call him wide mouth. After the game, you guys seen that game where you put the thing in your mouth and you're supposed to talk? That is what he looks like when he does his little fake cry. But it's so funny and it is so cute because he's clearly faking. But yeah, he is rarely ever in a bad mood. He's just genuinely a happy baby, and it's just so refreshing. It's so refreshing. Again, he is very good at reading a room. Y'all, my dog. This dog. Y'all, my house is so noisy. Woo! I done lost my train of thought. Oh, he is so capable of reading a room, y'all. It's amazing to watch. So 11, when he's upset, which is 90% of the day, when he's upset, Trice will literally stop what he's doing and will go and try to comfort him or give him what it is that he thinks he wants, or just try to somehow make him feel better. And he is like that with pretty much everybody. He is truly able to pick up on emotions and read those emotions very well to be a baby. And the thing is he knows the difference between like faking and being serious. When you're like fake crying or whatever, he'll laugh. He knows you're joking. But if you're genuinely upset, he knows that and will try to comfort you in that moment, which is just the sweetest and the cutest thing I've ever seen. It's amazing to watch baby do something that a lot of adults can't even pick up on. That is definitely his personality. I'm curious to see how that plays out as he gets older and become a toddler and, you know, an older child, and what that will look like. Me being a therapist for my background, I don't want him to be a people pleaser, so I'm very cognitive of that and trying to make sure that his ability to read emotions doesn't become something that is people pleasing, you know? So yeah, he still has such the greatest personality. He just really, really does. And again, it's just so refreshing. So anyway, that is pretty much how that's going with him. What else is there that maybe I need to fill you guys in? Oh, he's taking his diaper off. So we have to keep him in shorts or a onesie, because if we don't, he's taking off his diaper. That is a thing that all of my kids go through every time. He's a little earlier than usual. Typically, when they start that, that's my cue that they're ready to start potty training. I don't potty train, but that's my cue that they're ready to learn about the pot and get on the pot and all those things. He's a little early. Don't think he's ready for that, but he takes his diaper off. So we have to keep shorts and pants on him because yeah, he'll be walking around naked and we're like, where's your diaper, dude? Where's your diaper? Yeah, that's his thing now. But other than that, he's doing really well and just a true blessing. I tell my husband all the time how he is such a blessing. I'm so thankful for him. I think a lot of times something unexpected will happen, like a pregnancy. And for me, he was my 12th baby and I was 40 and it was like, this is happening. And we were opening up our second location and it, in my mind, just did not seem like the right time. In my mind, it felt like, what, this cannot be happening. But now that we have him, that was perfect timing. And he is such a blessing and was exactly what we needed. And it's just perfect timing. It's just those kind of things. You just cannot walk away from the fact that what God knows is what God knows. And just those blessings, y'all. And a lot of times I feel when we try to steer our lives, it just blocks our blessings sometimes. So he's definitely a blessing. As far as I go, because we've talked a lot, if you guys have been on the journey, you know my emotional well-being has been a roller coaster. And I would say that, where am I now, you guys? So in the beginning, I was dealing with a lot of sadness. I felt I couldn't determine if I was having postpartum depression or just adjustment disorder or just overwhelmed with everything that was going on in my life because again, we opened the second business. We were in a pandemic. Both our businesses were shut down. We had employees. It was so much happening that of course I was having emotional discourse, right? But I couldn't determine because I also had just had a baby. So it was like, what is going on for me? And I wasn't sure. And so for me, 2021, I was like, I am going to focus on my self-care and my mental health. And I made that a priority. And I did a whole video on it and it really, really, really just helped me so much. I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm definitely not where I was. I don't have the heaviness of just sadness. And I was having that so much. It was a heaviness of just sadness, you guys. And I'm not having that anymore. That is resolved. What I am experiencing now, though, is a lot of anxiety. That has been the forefront of my emotional journey. I'm not sure where that's coming from. I have dealt with anxiety in the past, and generalized anxiety runs in my family. My grandmother suffered from it really, really badly. As part of it, I know it's just DNA. But I also feel like a part of it is self-care. I know now when I'm experiencing that I need to do more self-care and that I'm not taking care of myself, or that I am putting myself in positions where I'm not leaning on my faith enough and worried about things that are out of my control. He's back. He's tired, y'all. He's ready for bed. Oh, I didn't talk about that part. So sleeping. Why are you not sleeping through the night? Huh? I don't know why he is not sleeping through the night. He's still not sleeping through the night. Although last night he only woke up one time. Yay for that. We're getting better. We are getting better. But still not sleeping through the night. Again, I talked about this a little bit in my last video. He's not waking up where he's up and want to party. He's shifting positions. And when he does that, he wants to nurse. So he'll shift positions and need to nurse in order to fall back into a deep sleep. But he does wake up frequently, change positions, and want to nurse in order to go back to sleep. That's kind of what we're dealing with. And I think a lot of that is co-sleeping. So we've talked about getting him a toddler bed and seeing how he does with one because he's not a bad sleeper. So I feel like if he had his own bed, he may do better than what he does in our bed. But I don't know, because we like having you there, don't we? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, are you smiling? Are you smiling? But back to my mental health. Yeah, just the whole. Do you want a bottle? Thank you. Just the whole anxiety part. And like I said, again, I know that part of that is just gonna be somewhat DNA, but I also know that sometimes it's just what I'm doing or what I'm not doing or what's going on in my life and that kind of thing. So I've really been trying to focus a lot on that now. So the sadness has been alleviated. Of course, I still have sadness. I mean, that's normal. But the heaviness is not as much of a burden. But the anxiety definitely is more of a burden than anything now. And that is what I am currently working on and working through with my mental health, is just combating that anxiety. That's where I am, you guys. Other than that, I feel really good. Health-wise, I feel really good. I was on my weight loss journey and I was doing so good, y'all. So good. But then life, life, which is not an excuse. It's not an excuse. But it's my current reason. Like, I just got so busy. I have traveled so much by myself. Like, I personally have been doing a lot of traveling. And so it's hard for me when I get out of routine to get back in routine. So I'm trying to get there. I have that on my September goals, get back into doing your jump roping or running or something like that, because I don't want to allow that to get too far away from me. But other than that, health-wise, I feel really good. I've lost all my baby weight. I am pretty much back to where I was before I got pregnant with him. I always keep on pounds with every baby. So I'm sure I still have 5 pounds just from him. But for the most part, I am able to get into the majority of my pre-pregnancy clothes. Now, as we have been in a full year of being parents of 12, it's just surreal. It's like, I can't believe I have a dozen children, and never in our wildest dreams did we think we would have 12 kids. Having Trice has made me realize that each one of my kids plug or fill some type of purpose or role, and they're supposed to be here. Like, they were supposed to be here, and I was supposed to be their vessels. I am extremely grateful. And we get asked the question all the time, oh, are you guys done? And before we used to be like, oh yeah, we're done. This is it. We're not having any more kids. We're done. Not that we were doing any precautions to ensure that. And now I don't say that anymore, because Phoenix, my 6-year-old, y'all, I don't know how that kid is here. Like, we were taking precautions with him, and he is here. He is here. So for me, I feel like what God has for me, God has for me. And if that's more kids, then that's more kids. And if that's not, then I'm okay with that too. Like, I'm totally settled and okay with where I am in my life. I am okay with my 12 pack, my dozen, or I would welcome more children by adoption or through birth. However, if God saw fit for that, I wouldn't be how I've been in the past, where I felt like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I'm not there anymore. I'm just okay, if that makes sense. Yeah, that is where I am. That's where we are. That is my 1 year update with Mr. Trice. I'm glad he made a live cameo into the video, because he was earlier not feeling it, y'all. He did not want to be here. Usually when I do these things, this is what he's doing, sleeping. And we're right at bedtime. It is actually 7:17 here, so His bedtime is typically between 7:30 and 8. So he's ready. He didn't get a bath. I didn't do any of that. That's okay. That's okay. It be like that sometimes, y'all. So that's it, you guys. If you have any questions about anything, I don't know, anything about anything related to birthing or parenting or emotional well-being or, 1-year milestones, anything that you guys might have a question about, then feel free to leave that down below. I will either answer you in the comments, we'll chat there. If I get enough questions or a question that I feel would be better for us to sit and talk about, because sometimes it's just better to talk, right, and answer your question than it is to try to type it out. So anyway, either way, we'll chat and I'll answer your question. So I appreciate you guys. If you are still here and you did not join the family at the beginning of the video, then, you're still here. So that means you kind of like this family and you kind of want to be a part. So don't be shy. Just hit the subscribe button and join the family. Become an MVP. Make it official. Just make it official. And join us over here. To the rest of my family, I love you guys. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.